Hi there, my name is Fiacro Suluwan and I'm with the School of Applied Social Studies. And the purpose of this presentation is to help prepare you for your placement setting as a part of SS 2024 and SS 3030. The aim of this presentation is to give you some practical tips about how best to prepare yourself for a placement. We have found that agencies are more than happy to have social science students on placement in their agencies. Students bring an energy and enthusiasm to the workplace setting, a willingness to learn and to be creative, and social science students also bring a commitment to social justice, social action and community development. As a student going on placement, it is important that you understand that you're not expected to be a fully formed professional practitioner. You are a student, so you're not expected to know everything. Take some relief from this. Having said that, you are expected to show interest, to demonstrate a willingness to learn and to reflect on your placement, to engage in a respectful and professional manner, to be respectful to both staff and to service users and their families and friends who you might encounter during your placement. And most of all, to participate and to get involved, to demonstrate a capacity to engage in teamwork and group work, and to complete and follow through on tasks set by the immediate line manager. A key message for students is to prepare in advance on going on placement. This is really worthwhile because it'll help you calm your nerves before you even start the placement. It'll help you to understand what is expected of you on the placement, and it will help you to organise and plan your learning goals for the placement module. So how do you plan and prepare? A key thing I would advise you to do is to research the agency itself. You can do this in a number of ways, but one way to begin is to identify who actually works in the agency. What type of professionals work there? Is it social workers, community workers, youth workers? Do psychologists work there? Is it multidisciplinary? Are there nurses, doctors? Who and what types of professions work in this agency setting? Another way of researching the agency is trying to identify what type of service users utilise the service. Is it a service just for young people? Is it a service just for old people? Is it a service for people with disabilities? Is it a service for men only or for women only? The type of service user that utilises this agency will help you to understand the type of services and the nature of service delivery within that agency before you ever get on placement. You might want to identify whether the agency is a part of the public sector and funded completely by the state, whether it is a part of the private sector in the form of a social enterprise, or maybe still the agency is a part of the voluntary community sector. Other areas that you could utilise to research the agency setting is to check whether the agency has a website or other online social media profiles. The agency may have published some research or an annual report or maybe submitted a policy document to the government or a submission around public policy or legislative changes. These documents or a website or a social media profile will help you to prepare by understanding their views on public policy issues, their positioning within the mixed economy of welfare, and how they see best to provide services to their service users. Yet another source of information could be an inspectorate or regulatory body, such as HICWA, who nowadays inspect a lot of social service settings, particularly for children and the elderly. Finally, a practical way to research the agency setting is gaining information from the lived personal experience. So maybe you might know somebody who works in the agency setting or worked there in the past. Better still, a previous social science student from UCC might have gone on placement there, and maybe they can give you some information about the agency and about how they experience the agency. This will be invaluable information to help you prepare for your placement. In terms of preparation, the most important thing that you can do is introduce yourself to the agency and bring along a copy of the agency letter with you. At that meeting, check to see if Garda vetting is required, and if so, ask if the agency can process this on your behalf. Garda vetting can take some time to complete, particularly if you have lived outside of Ireland for longer than 6 months. Once your placement is organised, try to make contact with the agency a fortnight before your actual start date. Identify what time you're supposed to present on the first day, who you're going to be reporting to, and clarify your role and responsibilities in advance. We recommend that you use the registration form as a placement plan, both for you and for the agency. In the final section of this presentation, I would like to talk to you about your own skill set. A key preparatory task for you is to identify your learning needs and goals for your placement journey. So before you go on placement, be honest with yourself and identify what knowledge, skills and capacities you already have, and what areas you need to develop. Do not be afraid to identify gaps in your knowledge and skills. It is actually much better for you to be upfront and to inform the agency of the deficits or the areas for growth that you have, rather than overemphasize something and get into difficulty during the placement. Identifying your learning needs will help you seek out opportunities during the placement to develop your skill set. It will also help the practice manager, the service manager, and your immediate line manager identify areas and opportunities to allow you to grow during your placement. This model of self-appraisal forms a part of a much wider process known as reflective practice, where the practitioner, the social scientist, the social worker, the youth worker, the community worker, all engage in a process of reflecting in action and on action to continuously try to improve their capacity to provide services to the service user. This is a key learning point on this module, and I wish you the very best of luck as you reflect on your own knowledge and skill set in preparation for your placement.